Hi and welcome to JAC History. Today we talk about Ching Shih, who I think I mentioned in my Anne Bonny video if I remember correctly. She is another female pirate, but she mainly worked in the South China Sea. Her ability to navigate the treacherous waters of pirate politics cemented her authority and marked her as one of the legendary pirates of the South China Sea, and in my opinion probably the most influential female pirate in all history. In my opinion, through sheer determination and her unparalleled strategic acumen, she rose from humble beginnings to command one of the most formidable pirate fleets in all of human history. At the height of her power, it was said that she led over 2,000 ships and 80,000 men. Full disclosure, those numbers came from a guy named Richard Glaspole, who was held hostage by them for ransom for about 4 months. And basing off his writings, I can quite confidently say he was a bit of a drama queen and a bit overdramatic. So take his words with a grain of salt, because there's a very high chance this is all exaggeration because he probably wanted to sound cooler and more endangered and more brave. Born into poverty around 1775, Zhen Zhangguo, later known as Ching Shih, embarked on a journey to the Canton region of China on a floating flower boat. And for all of you who don't know, a floating flower boat is a floating brothel. There on the flower boat, she captured a lot of people with her beauty and wit, and many say this was actually the start of her ascent to being able to deal well with people and manipulate people. So this was kind of like the foundation for her becoming the pirate queen. Now, Ching Shih's husband, Ching Yi, was actually a formidable pirate captain of his own fleet. He was a very impressive negotiator in his own right and a very formidable pirate. He actually managed to group together a whole bunch of pirate organizations that didn't like each other to create one bigger fleet under his leadership. Ching Shih married Ching Yi at the age of 26 in 1801 and participated fully in his pirate career. How these two met is actually quite debated, but the story that I personally like is this. The story goes that Ching Yi sought out Ching Shih as his bride due to her reputation as a shrewd businesswoman. Ching Shih used the secrets that she gained working as a sex worker to manipulate her politically connected clients. That being said, for this story, there are no primary Chinese sources to confirm nor deny this story. Another less nice story is that Ching Yi abducted a whole bunch of beautiful women and Ching Shih was one of them. He chose Ching Shih to be his bride, she beat him up and he's apparently into that, and then he was like, yeah, you could be my bride, and she was like, sure, but I want some of the power, and he was like, no, and then she beat him up some more, and then he was like, Daddy, yes! I like both stories. There are no primary sources to confirm either story, but I still think both of them are kind of interesting. Ching Shih's ability to beat people up and Ching Shih's ability to manipulate and negotiate things are two things that we definitely do see later on in her career, so it is understandable and believable that those stories did happen, but we don't really know how they met or why they got married, but that's two stories that are kind of interesting. I do like them, but I don't really like the idea of Ching Yi kidnapping a whole bunch of women and going, which of you shall I marry? What I can say for both those stories, they do take a point where Ching Shih debates and negotiates her stake in the marriage and how much of the pirate fleet that she gets. I kind of like picturing her going, yes, the life of a pirate is freeing and attractive, but being a prostitute, I get more power, more money, less chance of scurvy and less chance of murder. So what's in it for me? Through all this, and if beating up is a part of it, I don't know, but somehow she ended up with 50% of the pirate fleet, which is pretty impressive negotiation if I do say so myself, because it's not like he was, probably lacking in people wanting to be his bride, so she did quite well for herself. It wasn't long so they became like the ultimate power couple, with Ching Yi working as the patriarch and Ching Shih working as the organizer. Ching Shih's strategic understanding was evident in her unification of the ships under her command, ensuring each squadron operated under a cohesive structure. By 1805, an agreement was signed by the leaders of the subsidiary fleets, creating a formidable confederation. This confederation was divided into 6 squadrons, all with absolute loyalty to Ching Shih and Ching Yi. The colours were black and white, green, yellow, blue, and of course red, which Ching Shih and Ching Yi lived on. Ching Shih and Ching Yi led the red fleet, while lieutenants led the other 5. Each ship actually had a pretty cool name, with the blue one being Bird and Stone, the green one being Frog's Meal, which I don't really understand that one. The other one was Scourge of the Eastern Sea, which I think is a pretty cool name, and I actually probably want to be on that one. Their pirate fleets. Felipe. The pirate fleets wreaked havoc in the South China Sea, especially in the Guangdong province area, where there was prominent salt trade. Under the couple's guidance, the pirates will take the merchants, haul in the salt, and then make the merchants continue doing their job, but for the pirates' benefit. Eventually, the salt merchants just found it easier to go straight to the pirates and pay for the opportunity and the pleasure for doing their own job, because that was easier to do than have to face the pirates and then debate and then argue. And so it's easy just to go straight to the pirates and go, here, we have this salt, here's your cut, thank you. It's very similar to the mafia's protection racketeering, where they would pay for the pleasure of not being killed. It was a very short time before a lot of merchant ships as well as fishing ships actually paid to get documents saying that they were free from Ching Shih, and that they paid a small price in order to not be murdered or kidnapped or whatever else Ching Shih and her pirates decided to do with them. So there were people going around with little documents saying Ching Shih so I can live. Well, they didn't actually just say that, but I like to think it was just a little document that said Ching Shih says I may live. Thank you. Bye. I don't know, I think that's funny. Alright. It wasn't long till the Chinese authorities were severely outmatched and absolutely everybody knew it. The Cantonese Navy would avoid the pirates at all costs, even for going sailing in general, which is impressive to scare the Navy that much that they won't even go in the water. I don't think they count as Navy after that, I think they just count as regular old soldiers. Eventually, Ching Yi and Ching Shih were responsible for so much damage in the South China Sea that the Chinese government offered Ching Yi a government position as master of the royal stables in exchange for him not pirateering anymore. Imagine they gave him this job so that he'd be tied to land and horses and not to boats and sea. And I'm sure you can imagine, I don't think Ching Yi even for a minute considered staying on land to look after horses when he had a very successful pirateering business. So in a matter of no time, he was back on the boats, and the master of the stables was in the newspapers going around doing piratey oh, can't say damn it. Going around doing pirate stuff. For the pirate couple, one of their biggest successes came in 1804, where they took on the Portuguese. The pirates caused a blockade in the Portuguese port in Macau, which is in the south coast of China. The Portuguese quickly sent out a squadron to deal with the pirates, but they were easily overpowered by the Red Fleet. Ching Shih and Ching Yi been married for just over 5 years, till the death of Ching Yi in 1809. Sources really vary on how he died. He either was on the wrong side of a tsunami, or he died in battle in Vietnam. Either way, he is deceased. Ching Shih didn't really have time to mourn the death of her husband, as she quickly had to stop talks of mutiny and maintain her seat on the pirate throne. She sought someone to lead the Red Fleet in her late husband's absence, who was utterly loyal to her, as well as able to guide and lead the other fleets, and was able to maintain her strength in the Colour Code fleets. The best way Ching Shih thought to do this was by taking on Zhang Bao, who was her late husband's adoptive son and lover, as her own lover. Yes, it is weird, but it is also history, so what can you expect? She also gave Zhang Bao the title of the leader of the Red Fleet, which was the natural choice, which means Ching Yi had a history of kidnapping people and making them lovers. If the story of Ching Shih being kidnapped in a group of girls and made to be his wife is also true, and I do hope that people don't kidnap people to be lovers and adoptive children. So through the strategic maneuvering, she was able to keep control over the Red Fleet as well as all the other fleets, and could keep her power well within her tight grasp. One of Ching Shih's most significant achievements was implementing a code of conduct that governed the behaviour of her pirates. The code included punishments for theft, desertion and disobedience, as well as regulations for how you treat females and the distribution of loot. The enforcement of these laws was swift and brutal, ensuring the obedience of everyone in the fleet. This code of conduct helped her maintain control of her crew, as well as carried a sense of unity and respect within the pirates. It's also made the general population actually like and respect the pirates more as well. Many soldiers in the Chinese army did not follow these same rules and weren't always the nicest to the people in the townsfolk. The code also made the pirates more likable to the average civilian on land. Many of the soldiers in the Chinese army didn't necessarily follow the same rules and didn't treat the townsfolk with the same level of respect. The fact that the pirates treated townsfolk better than the actual government made the pirates actually quite welcomed, and towns even offered aid to the pirates and a helping hand. Some of the rules include: a pirate may not go to shore without permission, as first punishment for breaking this rule was to have one's ears slit, and second punishment was execution. You aren't to rob villages to provide You can keep 20% of your booty, but the rest has to be put into a central pirate hoard. Captured goods are to be registered before being shared out. An individual ship that catches cargo may keep 1/5. The rest is added to this general prize fund for the whole fleet. Townsfolk must be paid for their provisions. This one was clearly not always followed. No abuse of women, captured or otherwise. The pirate code also had some pretty strict rules when it came to female captives. If she was pretty, a pirate was allowed to marry her as long as they were nice and faithful to her. If she was not pretty, they would either ransom her if she was worth ransoming or just set her back to shore. If you're abusive or unfaithful towards your wife, you had your head clean cut off and your lifeless body thrown overboard. If you kept more than your allocated share of booty, Ching Shih cuts your head off and your body is thrown overboard. There's clearly a theme going on here. If you tried to resist Ching Shih's rules or leadership, your feet were nailed to the bottom. If you forced yourself on a female captive, Ching Shih's code of rules ordered that you had your head cut off and your lifeless body thrown overboard. And your ears be passed around all the crew as a warning, which I think is a very clear warning. In other words, if you stepped out of line, it will not be pretty. Throughout her years as a pirate queen, Ching Shih faced many attempts by the Qing dynasty to overthrow her, but despite the numerous attempts by the Qing dynasty, Ching Shih and her fleet stood strong and unyielding. Notably, in 1808, Zhang Bao decimated the Qing dynasty's fleet by half, showcasing their formidable strength. Despite the Qing dynasty's vast resources and numerous attempts to capture her, Ching Shih's strategic prowess not only ensured her survival but also her prosperity. She defeated them brutally. She plundered their ships, took all their stuff, and then to add insult to injury, made their crew her crew. It was either you serve me or you... After just a few hours in 1809 during one battle, the Mandarin navy was defeated. At the time of their marriage, Ching Shih and Ching Yi had around 200 ships. But by the time of 1809, so after the battle that I was just talking about, Ching Shih is believed to have anywhere between 1,700 and 1,800 ships, which means she has the largest pirate fleet in all of history, if that is the case. After that humiliating loss, the Chinese government decided to make it a bit safer, as they didn't want to lose what's left of their navy to Ching Shih. So instead they hired bounty hunters from Great Britain as well as Portugal. Very soon after hiring these bounty hunters, Ching Shih systematically either hired them or murdered them, probably more of the beheading that she famously loved. Ching Shih actually had two big battles against the Portuguese due to the fact that she was also destroying their trading routes. So the Portuguese definitely were not Ching Shih's biggest fan. They actually had two huge battles. One in 1807, which was called the Battle of the Tiger's Mouth, and one in 1809. Eventually the Qing government kind of sat down and went, maybe we're slightly out of our waters here, and instead of doing the whole fighting till victory, we'll try and negotiate ourselves to victory. So they turned to Ching Shih and went, if you stop raging and you stop pillaging, we'll stop trying to kill you. Which is kind of funny because that kind of makes it sound like they had the power in the situation, when the whole reason they were at the situation it was because they couldn't beat her in a fight. So Ching Shih turned around and went, no. But recognizing the opportunity that was being presented to her by the Qing dynasty, she decided to go in for negotiations to get her as well as her entire pirate crew an easy post-pirating retirement. Next off was the Qing dynasty going, if you give back all the treasure you had taken as well as give up all your ships, we will stop trying to kill you. Also did not work for Ching Shih. She was like, that's my rightful treasure. I stole it fair and square. That is now mine. And she was not about to give up all her treasure and ships to the people that were trying to kill her for the past decade. Then the Qing dynasty went, okay, we'll try and talk this out. But they just gave another offer that was ridiculous. That was basically the same thing of give up your ships, give up all your treasure, and we won't kill you. And that obviously is not working for Qing, so she decided to just stroll up in there unarmed and have a discussion like an actual adult, which is very impressive. Just walks into an office full of people that are trying to kill her unarmed and was like, let's discuss this because everyone knows that you aren't beating me. Because if there's one thing Ching Shih can do, it's negotiate. She negotiated herself from a sex worker to a pirate queen, straight into the pants of her dead husband's ex-lover. She managed to negotiate herself into a very comfortable retirement where the Chinese government also gave her a pension and she got to keep all of her riches. So she was really well off. They stopped trying to kill her and they also pardoned a majority of her crew and the ones they didn't pardon are the ones who committed crimes before they joined her crew. In the end, she decided to take them up on their offer and decided to open up a post-pirating casino. A casino was also a brothel because old habits do die hard. She also managed to get the Chinese government to annul the adoption of Xiang Pao, so she was no longer his mother, instead his mummy. Can you say that? They decided to get married, which I think does make the situation, I guess, less weird, but not by much. It's still very weird. Ching Shih wasn't just an amazing leader, but she was also a visionary. She implemented a code of laws that were revolutionary for its time period, ensuring that all her pirates had discipline and were loyal to her. Her strategic mind and indomitable spirit saw her outmaneuver not only the Qing dynasty, but other pirates, the British and the Portuguese. She also inspired a lot of books, movies, TV shows and stories. For example, her code of conduct was used to inspire the pirates.
Code is more what you call guidelines than actual rules.
Anywho, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please like, subscribe and comment if you'd like to. And I hope you enjoy the story of Ching Shih, and thank you so much for watching.